going to be playing against Dredge. This must mean Abe Corrigan, if I had to guess. That'll be updated in just a moment, of course. It's Daniel Tracy. I lied.
I like no name for local opponent.
But briefly until they take their first turn?
Right. Yeah.
Pass the turn back. Here's Pyromancer Ascension. Cardboard live deck list are up as well if you want to see what Dylan Donegan's working with. Very similar list to what he won with at Regionals last week here on the SCG Tour circuit, as a Cathartic Reunion will be played here by Daniel Tracy. Dredge 3 from Life Alone, 3 more here from Dark Blast, and now it'll just be a regular draw for Tracy.
2 tabs open on my tablet. They're both Bob Huang's deck. So give me a moment.
You're learning. You're learning. That's okay.
There we go.
Donegan going to play an Opt. Followed up with another Opt. Put a counter there on the Pyromancer Ascension. Tracy wants to learn a little bit more about that card. The powerful red enchantment says that if you play a spell that is already a spell that you have in your graveyard, you get 1 counter. And if you have 2 counters on it, that means that you get all your spells are doubled. They're forked. That's here's Life from the Loam. Life from the Loam is going to return Copperline Gorge, Wooded Foothills, and a Mountain to Daniel Tracy's hand. Play the Mountain, play Faithless Looting, Dredge the Loam. Creeping Chill is going to do its thing. Donegan's going to fall down to 17. Tracy's going to go up to 22. They'll have to draw another card because he's got nothing else to dredge and discard 2 cards here in just a moment.
Pyromancer's Ascension is typically a little slow in this matchup, but not with the start that Tracy's had here. Taking him a while to get to the battlefield, and not commonly the case that you get to go wild with Pyromancer Ascension in this matchup, but it might happen here.
Dylan has Thing in the Ice, and now Dylan has a Serum Vision, so Thing in the Ice is going to melt down to 3 counters, and Pyromancer Ascension is going to roll on up to 2, which means the Ascension is online, as here's a Dredge. Finally found some creatures, did Tracy, in Prized Amalgam and Bloodghast. The follow-up now will be a Faithless Looting with Flashback. Dredge the Dark Blast. Now Dredge the Loam. Another copy of Prized Amalgam in the bin. Narcomoeba is going to enter the battlefield as well now. So now Daniel Tracy is actually starting to build up a bit of a battlefield, but it might be, as JoJo would say, too little too late.
Especially if you can't kill Thing in the Ice, because the likelihood with an active Pyromancer Ascension, the Donegan is able to just chain together enough cantrips to flip over to transform Thing in the Ice is so high. Not optimistic about Tracy getting to leverage this battlefield.
Donegan's probably going to have a pretty explosive turn here. Going to start things off with another copy of Thing in the Ice.
Although Donegan's hand actually looked kind of bad. It was really light on cantrips. Yeah, I think he might have had at least 1 copy, possibly 2 of Arclight Phoenix. So I was pessimistic about this setup from Tracy's side, but if Donegan's hand is really that bad, there's some hope.
Narcomoeba, Conflagrate, Prized Amalgam. Those are the dredges this time here for Daniel Tracy. There are 3 Prized Amalgams on the battlefield. Now 2 Narcomoebas. Only 1 can attack, however. And a Bloodghast. Beatdowns. Worth noting that Dylan Donegan has to be concerned about the Conflagrate that's in the graveyard and the Dark Blast that's in the graveyard.
Yeah, his hand is just removal. And you want to be mindful, as you mentioned, of, you block with the Thing in the Ice, and then it becomes much easier for Tracy to finish it off via the Conflagrate. So, and anything you kill on this battlefield is pretty modest, because the Amalgams come back, and so does the Bloodghast, and the Narcomoeba's not that good.
Yeah, you'd love to put all these cards back in Daniel Tracy's hand, of course.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Lightning Axe to take care of a couple of the knuckleheads. Here's Loam. And is it time for the Conflagrate? Looks like it is. That there. This going here. Wow, Donegan's going to lose both his copies of Thing in the Ice.
Yeah, and he was really banking on those, too.
Yeah, it seems like a tough game to win now. We're just short on cantrips.
Any cantrip, and especially Manamorphose, that's the way to really start pulling ahead here with cards and mana. So it's not a good spot for Donegan, but he's got some major draws from this spot.
That is
not one of them.
How about that? How about Arc-like finish your turn? Faithless Looting placed in the graveyard, among others, from the Dredge from Life and Loam. Here is Life and Loam now, getting back 3 lands as usual. And now Faithless Looting will be flashed back. Stinkweed Imp is going to allow the Dredge of 5, Creeping Chill among those cards. Donegan's going to fall down to 8. Tracy should be rolling up to 24. Beatdowns. Attack you, Dylan Donegan. Hiya! Bolt. Ever heard of it?
I have.
Bolt and Amalgam, block and Amalgam. All right. Is it possible? I'm going to start things off with an opt, gets to copy it.
It's definitely possible from here. Manamorphose can get him to Thing in the Ice and a transform in 1 turn.
All right.
It's going to require some fortunate draws here, but it is not impossible.
Faithless Looting. That's going to happen twice, by the way.
There we go.
Manamorphose.
That's the start.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. Serum Visions. All right, we're getting the counters out here, too. Scry 2. Scry 2. Thought Scour. Ding, ding, draw. Ding, ding, draw.
Second art like Phoenix in the graveyard.
Another Manamorphose.
Here we go.
Draw 2 cards. Another Manamorphose. Wow, this is pretty surreal.
Yep. Still needs some fortunate breaks here, but if you can get the 4 Arc-like Phoenixes and the 3 bolts, that's 21.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my God, that is 21. Manamorphose. 3/3. Okay. Draw 2. Looting down to 2 red. This is going to happen twice.
Yeah, I mean, Donegan, it's not inconceivable for him to draw his whole deck.
Yeah.
So if he can do that with the mana required,
Yep. Looting.
Found a bolt.
Another Phoenix. What is this? Manamorphose. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Is this actually going to happen?
I think
That's all 4 Phoenixes. Bolt you.
It doesn't even need
That's
all 3 bolts.
6.
He only needs 2 bolts
That's
because of
Bolt
the
you, that's 6. Snapcaster, Bolt you, Phoenixes. Thanks for playing. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Pyromancer's
That is
Ascension.
outrageous.
Pyromancer's Ascension along with Manamorphose is not a small game. That's a big game. And there you have it.
Dylan Donegan going to win game number 1 here over Daniel Tracy to cool -9 after all is said and done, as Izzet Phoenix is now up a game over Dredge. Well played, young man. Well played. That was sweet.
It was sweet. Pyromancer's Ascension and Manamorphose together. That's the. You don't see it necessarily looking at the deck list, but it can get into spots where you can draw your whole deck or very close to it.
Pyromancer's Ascension just kind of got left for dead. Once like Baral and Goblin Electromancer started taking over in Storm,
Yeah.
you forget that this is even a card.
Yeah, well, the problem with the Storm deck is it's not really looking to play a game that's that deep, and it's awkward with the rituals. You draw these rituals, and you don't really want to cast them for no value to get your Pyromancer Ascension up and running. But in a deck like this, where everything is just cantrips and bolts, there's no dead spells, it's the opportunity cost of getting the counters on is a lot lower.
The other thing that I think that the Izzet Phoenix players get to take advantage of is that Graveyard Hate doesn't really work that well against them.
Right.
You know, so people that tried Rest in Peace, right, that just didn't work. I can hardcast my Phoenix, or I can just ignore that, or nice Rest in Peace, kill you a Crackling Drake. Mm-hmm. So your experience against this deck is my Graveyard Hate doesn't work, I'm going to stop doing this. And they're like, cool, people don't have Graveyard Hate anymore? Ascension, what's up?
Yep.
So they get to juke the opponents a bunch, and if people bring in Graveyard Hate after game 1, they just sideboard their Pyromancer Ascension or Ascensions if they're playing multiple copies out of their deck. So they have complete agency about what the experience is going to be, which is pretty crazy.
Yep.
Here's a surgical extraction. Blood gas, you got to go. Cathartic Reunion is going to resolve. No dredging to be done here for Daniel Tracy, as we're going to head back over to Dylan Donegan. He's going to opt on the end step. Scry 1, it's so much fun. That card is now Dylan thinking. Wants to put it on the bottom, might leave it on top though. We'll leave it on top. Now draw for the turn. Faithless Looting. Draw 2. Discard 2. Sulfur Falls. Pass the turn back over to Daniel Tracy. We'll play Gemstone Mine. Flashback Faithless Looting. Draw 2. Discard 2. Looking for some dredges. Found some stinkies.
Looks like Stinkweed and Loam.
Mm-hmm. Stinkweed and Thug.
Thug, excuse me.
Prize Amalgam. In the graveyard, 2 copies, in fact. Blood Crypt untapped. Oh, boy. We call
Ooh, that is not the 4-turn I'm looking for.
Hard Cast Creeping Chill. We call that hard mode. Thing in the Ice is plural on the battlefield now for Donegan.
And Tracy, again, it's just taking him a little while here to get on the battlefield.
Bang!
Come on.
Bang!
Trying to get Donegan down low enough where Conflagrate, or maybe even, probably not Blood Gas at this point because Donegan can block too effectively, but.
And because they got surgical.
Oh, yeah, also that. Also that.
It ain't going to happen with Blood Gas this game. Dredge Loam. Dredging a Loam, a Stinkweed, and a land. A little surgical action, huh? See what these are targeting. I think it's Creeping Chills. Yep. Enough of that nonsense, says Dylan. Time alone.
Still got to be mindful of Conflagrate here.
There's old Stinkerino. Not going to be hanging around for long, I'm sure. Dylan Donegan is going to go towards Snapcaster Mage. With Opt and now Surgical, which is going to transform both copies of Thing in the Ice into Awoken Horror. And now a land.
And as long as he has a Surgical left over where he can answer Conflagrate that gets dredged here, he should be good.
Well, he's got Snappy Snap in hand
and
a Surgical in the bin, so it looks like he's probably good to go. And that is going to do it. Dylan Donegan going to win this game and match over Daniel Tracy, 2-0. Is it Phoenix?